It's Farmers Market Day. We've been to the farmers market. Here's Mr. Smiley Face.
I have
To
seen
get a
some-
watermelon.
Yeah, right. Hey, it wasn't bad. It's only $82.95. Yeah, and it's almost 3.5 pounds. These are really expensive watermelons. And the last one I paid for, she takes a slice out of it and says, "It's no good."
It wasn't. I picked it out. You know.
I don't mind throwing money away.
But anyway,
Jesus
that isn't the
Christ.
topic that I wanted to talk about today in my video.
Oh, good. What's the topic for
It
today?
is. I wanted to talk about
How about
women's
how about my new
rights.
clothes?
Women's rights. Did you hear? Women's rights.
Yeah, well,
Women-
you knocked us over.
We've
there's gonna
had
be a
gay
little slight
rights, we've
delay.
had
Slap the
Black
crap out of
civil
you.
rights. We've had illegals' rights, but women, they're perpetually shorted of their rights.
Mhm.
And we need our rights. How are we going to get them?
Almost came up through my nose again. Be very
With
careful.
men like him impeding the progress of women's
I never impeded
rights.
the progress.
It's going to take quite a while, I think.
Well, whatever
Maybe
you want to
like
believe. I don't
forever?
know. Beats the shit out of me, you know.
But anyway, today I'm going to fight again for women's rights and try to point out to you, and especially
to
to
do
the
what?
men, why
Right
we
to do
still
what?
don't have rights.
What is the right
Whereas
to do?
men, have the delusion that women have equal rights. Whenever that's brought to their attention, which isn't too,
That's not delusional.
we don't have, but we don't have equal rights. Here's Mr. Shirley here. I took him to farmer's market.
I'm not silly. I've got to go
he
out in this heat and
snarled.
buy a bed.
Yeah, well, if I'd
You
acted
sleep on
this
this crap
way,
for a few nights and
when-
see how you like it.
when he took me, I fought those things 3 times, quietly, not causing any fuss. But now he's fighting. That's different.
I'm fighting what?
Well, you're sleeping on sacks. You've had to get rid of your furniture. I call that
I'm not
major.
I'm not fighting it. You can't fight it.
You're just
What
snorting
you do is you get
your way through.
I get my butt up and go up to the store and buy it and say, "Please, would you deliver that this afternoon? Can I go in the delivery truck with you because nobody's going to be there? Can you do it like now?" Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Well, see, if
I think I'm
men
going to get a
didn't
motel
have,
room.
telephone, who's that? Well, I hope that your answering service will get it. But anyway, let me tell you about
See,
women's,
once we start these
women's
things,
rights.
Everybody
women's rights.
starts calling saying,
If,
"You can't say
yeah.
that." No.
One thing we
no,
can't
no.
control is turning off his. Go away. But anyway, if when we go to the farmers market, for example, I'm expected to go cheerful all the
I
time.
don't go to the farmer's
And he
market.
doesn't go. Well, today he
And why
went.
did I go?
And he snarled
Why did I go?
to get a watermelon.
Right, and I
But
got free
that was
free
grounds
money, folks.
To
Free money.
snarl
So
the whole way. He snarled at the
Yeah, but you know
clerk.
what?
He snarled at me.
nobody said anything about not taking the money, though. Remember that?
Oh,
The
yeah,
only
they
thing I
took
had
the
was,
money. Well, anyway.
"Sir, you have a paper clip stuck into one of these vouchers here, and if you tear it out, the bank won't take it." And I said, "What? The bank won't take
And
it if it's got a
he
little
said,
tear in it?"
"What?" And
Well, no, I said,
see,
that-
I would have said,
See, I,
Oh.
well, yeah, you just,
all
yeah.
right.
So I just,
but-
I basically just said, now that sounds
basically,
ridiculous.
well,
It
your
does.
basic
It's
male
ridiculous.
snarl. You snarled at this woman.
You don't
There's
know
no
what a snarl is. I'll
no,
tell you
that
what
wasn't
a
his
snarl
worst. Now,
is.
by far, that was not his worst.
I'll
He
fix
can
you
do a
up
lot
with-
worse than that.
I can do a
This is
snarl
me,
and a half.
When
Yeah.
I go to market,
I said, that doesn't make any sense.
any
Holy crap.
sense. Well, he wasn't able to be civil this morning. He had a bad night. I'm sorry.
How do you know I had a bad night? You weren't
But
here.
anyway, I want to explain to you all the ways that women are expected to bear up, be civilized, make it nice for the men, while the men do as they
That's
please.
been going on for
If
thousands
they
of
feel
years.
like it, they might smile a little bit, and if they don't,
Oh, did you see the Egyptian thing
watch
going on right
out.
now? The Egyptian thing going on?
Hmm.
The ladies were saying, you know, well, the way we were raised, and this is today, we were raised, we were expected to get hit, you know, and smacked
Hit,
around by
smacked
the men,
around.
because that's just the way it was.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And now they're trying to figure out how the heck, and you're complaining about women's rights here?
Women's rights. I came from Utah. You know, Utah once had polygamy. Imagine.
Well, what's that
Imagine.
got to do with anything?
Well, do you think that's women had rights with polygamy? Are you kidding? Compared to the men? Oh, a man could have anywhere from 3 to 50 wives.
By the way, did
Brigham Young was
you ever
reputed to
read
have
the
50
Bible
wives.
about David and Solomon?
And
200,
during that
300,
time, and to the
another 300 concubines?
oh yeah, well of course
Now,
that
this
was
guy-
back in the days when there were no women.
This guy
Relatively few women.
only saw one of those.
Women were
say if he saw
hardly
2 a day.
recognized as
Say
any.
if he saw 2 a day, it would take him 2 years to see the same one over again.
Well,
you know?
that was in the days when women were barely considered to be above animal. You know, they were there for breeding
A
purposes.
chattel.
And yeah, chattel.
We'll have to
that's the word
explain that
for it.
word.
That's the word for it.
Okay,
And anyway,
it's
with
hot.
polygamy,
It's 100 degrees,
even after
folks.
polygamy was outlawed, the men
Don't come to Arizona
did
without
not
money
give up
or air
polygamy
conditioning.
willingly. They had to. They were forced to because the United States government decided they couldn't tolerate that many polygamists, so they were going to go after them. Told them they couldn't even have it in a territory.
Well, what they said was simply this.
So thank
if you
God.
want to become a state,
or
you're going to have to
we'd have a
pay,
whole state.
pay attention
Utah
to
would
federal
have-
law. Otherwise, you're
Would
not
be the
going to
most
be a
backward
state.
state in the union. A bunch of polygamists run around up there.
Already is.
So, anyway, but since polygamy is outlawed, watch out. Women still are expected to be submissive. Do not criticize. You know, just walk behind the men and you know, this is interesting because Mother Nature
I hope it
doesn't
is
go along
interesting
with
because,
this.
you know,
If you say you have a very smart dad, you could be born with his brains. Now, men don't really like brains in that much. You know, my dad didn't really like brains in his children because he couldn't dominate them good enough. You know, so he told me when I went to college what I could take, what my profession should be: nurse, secretary, or school teacher. Anything else he would not pay for. So in other words, I cut my pick, 3. So I finally said teacher, but I knew that I was too uppity. I read too many books. That's another thing. Women shouldn't be reading books,
that's true.
especially in Utah, because it causes
It's
you
true.
to doubt. If you read books now,
Well, here's-
that is a
here's one of the things I will say.
A state is dominated by
If you start
religion.
reading
Books.
Wonder Woman comics, they're going to wonder about you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Superman,
Yeah.
that's okay, you know. Lois was a dink. But Superman, you know,
Well, did you see why if you read too many books, you might doubt? You might doubt the doctrine, the philosophy. You might say something. So people who read a lot of books, they were women. I mean, women were punished. You know, my dad, you know, my dad and mother tried to figure out how they could stop me from reading books. So I learned to put my book under the chair when I saw them coming, jump up, grab the broom, and start sweeping. That was acceptable. They would smile.
You know,
Mhm.
if you ever read the Old Testament, you
But
know
if
what
I've
they
been
would
reading
do?
a book,
what they do with some people, they would blind them. Hit them with the hot irons. Well, that'll teach him to read that. He ain't gonna be reading anymore.
So the more I read, the more I thought,
It
I could be a
didn't work. They
writer,
threw
I
stones
could
at
be
you.
a playwright. So I told my dad, I told my mother, I didn't dare tell my dad, or he just screamed and hollered and told me off that I want to be a playwright, I want to be a writer, whatever, I want to write novels, plays, whatever. I
Well,
figured
see the difference
after reading all the
between
books I had, I could
me
do it.
not having any,
My mother knew what my
problems.
dad would say, that's not practical. Your dad's not going to go
See,
for it.
I would go just the
And he
opposite
didn't, he
way.
didn't, no.
I would go the opposite way.
You don't, I don't pay for college education for any harebrained schemes like that. Pie in the sky,
Well, no,
fantasy.
seriously now, I would go the opposite way. If one of my stepgirls, would say, Dick or Dad or whatever they were calling me at the time, I want to be the best hooker I can be. I would say, go for it, baby.
Oh, the heck you.
Well,
Not that.
Come on, let's face it. The career only lasts about
Don't lie.
10 years, and after that, if you haven't made enough money in 10 years, your career's over, It's like me
Well,
trying to
see?
be a gigolo. All right.
Well, look at him. He hooked up with me, a brilliant woman, well-read writer. And do you think he's accommodated himself for that kind of talent? He reminds me every chance he gets, hey, you've been in the nut house. What does that tell you about?
I'm just,
How did I get in the nut house?
just jealous is what it is. I'm jealous that I've never been
Reading too many
incarcerated in a nut
books?
house. But I'm looking forward
Not
to
being
it.
submissive
Yes,
to the
I'm
first
looking-
psychiatrist I
Okay,
ever
I get
went
it.
to. In 2 minutes, he recognized me as an uppity young female who needed to be taught a lesson. He knew when he incarcerated me after 2 minutes that I would be electric shocked against my will,
Well,
of course.
you were
My dad would
underage,
sign for me.
You were underage.
She needs it. Oh, okay. Show me the paper. I'll take it. I could have gone to him and said, when my sister was incarcerated and she got electric shock 10 years later, I said, Dad, who in the hell signed for her to have electric shock therapy? I didn't. Her husband did. Somebody can always be found to sign for a woman to have electric shock
did not
therapy.
know that.
In those days,
I didn't
they
know
tell me
that.
it's different. I
really
don't
didn't.
imagine it's very much different.
I didn't.
Because I was
know
out in
that.
the patio yesterday talking to a woman whose mother had been electric shocked out of her gourd and probably never really recovered. You see, I've
see
talked to
that
women
out
in
of
there
your-
who had 200
Out of your
electric shock
gourd,
treatments.
that's a term used in the 60s. That's 50-year-old term, out of your gourd. What are you, out of your gourd or something like
Yes,
that?
that's right. I'm from those. And how many electric
Where the hell do you
shock
think I'm
treatments
from?
can your brain absorb without serious damage?
You got a crummy
Did they
6
care?
years
Well,
on you,
she's
that's it.
insane. We've got to keep shocking her. That's what they do.
Well,
That's
I'm
what they
shocked
do.
right now. I mean,
That's women's rights.
I did.
And these were
Women
mostly women.
have a right to be shocked just
Mostly
like a man. Is
women.
that what you're trying to tell me?
Uh-huh. Oh,
They
yeah,
should be shocked
sure,
just like
sure.
a man.
Women were probably going to be shocked a lot more often for all less reason. So anyway, this is how
Is there
I
any
was
scientific facts here
introduced
that I
to
should
the
be aware of?
world of the psych ward. Of course, it could have been predicted that I would end up in a psych ward
Well, haven't you noticed
because I
that
was too
over the years
uppity.
that most
Expressed my opinion
psychologists,
too much.
psychoanalysts, and people who screw around with your
and
brain are
was
all
like-
men? Now, a lot of them are women because men commit. There used to be that, and I told you this before. This was about 50, 40 years ago. Of all the professions, the psychiatrists and psychoanalysts had the highest rating of suicide. Think about it. But
Well,
now,
shocked to
now
know
wait a
people.
minute, let me finish the damn
Depressing.
story. This is a true story. I base things on fact. Remember that time I told you I went to the hospital and this guy's got a case knife he stuck in his heart and it wasn't pointed, but then he calls his girlfriend while it's sticking out. And I love you. This is a psychiatrist. So anyway, the highest rate now, I don't know what it is, but 20 years ago, was dentists. Dentists.
Well, psychiatrists,
You know why?
as
Because
far
they
as I
inflict
would
pain on people.
concerned, were the professionals, the doctors who had the right to torture women and men.
What do you think dentists were?
Torture them.
Don't you think after a while?
Because all they had to do is say, I found her.
How did you do it at the
I
end
found
of
her
the day?
seriously
I had a lot of
mentally
screaming
ill.
and hollering and blood coming out.
Whose definition is mentally ill?
Well,
I
I'm
thought
mentally
when he
ill, but I don't-
incarcerated me,
I don't-
I was coping as well as could be
I'm
expected.
mentally ill, but I don't
As
brag about it.
intelligently as
I don't
anybody
brag
could
about it.
possibly have done it. What I had to contend with, a father, a dominating father, alcoholic, suicidal.
And don't
I
forget.
could go on.
And don't forget the general
And-
store, right?
Oh, I had a history. I have a
boy.
history, a horrifying history.
Yes.
But,
Hey, Mom, can I eat all the
and
fat
also
food I
then,
want? Oh,
on top
God,
of that,
hate
I
it.
got a psychiatrist saying, we need to take you down there and give you some good electric shock therapy.
You know what? They don't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah, right. I doubt that very much. They love it too much. They loved it then. Could they give that up? Are you kidding?
Well, they had to give it
Some
up.
way or another, they
Didn't
would
work.
still find a
It
way.
doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Well, it always worked before. I don't know why it doesn't work now. I mean,
Never
if you get
worked-
a
it
series of
never
electric
worked
shock therapy, you're
before.
going to be, well, how can I act to get out of this place? It worked real well. It would be work like you took them in and put them on the rack and tortured them a while. They'd want to get out of there too. So that's what I told my dad. That's torture. That's torture. That did not make sense. And that's what I told them. And I didn't get electric shock. I managed to prevent them from giving it to me, but it cost me my health. I don't even want to go into how I stopped them from doing it. Well,
I think anybody that's been watching this the
people
past
would
8
say
years
that
knows
that was insane for me to try to stop them from giving me electric shock because I was afraid it was going to kill me. Oh, it would kill you. I mean, it's not killed all these other people, but what's wrong with you? And I said, well, I'm different. I've got something wrong with me. I've already had near-death experience. You should not give me electric shock. Well, everybody was getting it. How could they make an exception? Couldn't. Really? And it's like me, 20 years old, pitting my will against a very important man, head of the psychiatric department in the medical school, no less.
Who told you?
Psychiatrist. And I was telling him, don't give me electric shock treatment. It might kill me. Well, what do you think some other patients said? Screaming and hollering while that's being carried in to have electric shock therapy. I heard him. So, the poor thing, she's just insane. She doesn't want what's good for her. What'll cure her.
Well, I tell you one thing. I will say. I will say this for you. And one of my favorite books, and I read it first, and I also saw the movie probably half a dozen times, where electric shock will kill you. And if the electric shock doesn't do it, the guy in the next bed will take a pillow, put it over your face, and then kill you, okay? So if we know what we're talking about, one over the cuckoo's nest, right?
One flew
Kill
over
you.
the cuckoo's. I could see that thing for years. It reminded me too much of the torture chamber of electric shock.
Well, the thing I like best
Psych
about
ward.
it, the thing I really like best about
I
it
could
was,
see it for years. I
was-
couldn't see Snake
was
Pit.
Nurse Cratchit. You
Nurse
know, like-
Cratchit. I couldn't see Nurse Cratchit.
Yeah,
I couldn't see
what seems to be
psychiatric.
the problem? What seems to be the problem? You know, like
Because I did not know then that a psychiatrist was somebody to fear.
Say
somebody to avoid, which I fully intend to do once I got out of there.
You know, you're gonna
And
knock,
I
you're
did,
gonna knock
I
this
did.
table over. if
I
you
thought, I
Yeah,
cannot,
you're gonna knock the
I've
table
got to
over.
escape the men in white coming with their.
They're coming to take me away, the funny
So I learned my lesson. I said, you gotta
By the way,
do
I
it this
used,
way,
I
and
used
that
to
way,
listen to
stay out of
Dr.
the middle.
Demento on the
Stay out of their
radio
clutches,
coming out of LA.
don't
Dr.
get
Demento.
back in their clutches. So, is that women's rights? I don't call that women's rights. I call that a travesty of women's rights. Oh, well, who incarcerated her? Of course, he was right. He was a man. He was a doctor. He was
Of course,
psychiatrist.
that's the way it was then.
He couldn't have made any. This is it. This is standard. This is the way we treat women who don't act quite normal.
Well, listen, let me tell you something else. As long as we're not gonna be putting this up or if we may.
We are going to put it up. I'm
Well,
going to fix
now, wait a
it.
minute.
Stop it in a
Here's-
minute.
Here's one of the things. Well, what's the big deal? You can let it run as long as you want to. I've always.
No,
covered
I don't
some.
want to. I want to put this one up, and the others are too long. So I can't ask people to watch this forever. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. I didn't get around.
You're obviously obsessed with it.
I didn't
I'm
get
not.
around to the electric shock experience because I had too much
You
to
like my new
contend
clothes,
with.
guys.
Too many years. But I thought about it for years and years and years, and I'm still mad.
Right. Okay, now let me throw this out at you. When I first got married to the preacher's daughter, and we didn't have any sex on the first the first night, and the second was, you know, kind of like, and then the first 3 months, I think we had sex like 5 times. So anyway, I go to her father, who's, you know, preacher. I went to the church, sitting down in his office, and I just told him, I said, you know, I don't know what it is, but your daughter doesn't want to have anything to do with me. And you know what his answer was?
What?
You know, we should have never given them the right to vote.
We should
And you
never
know
given women the right
And
to
you know
vote.
what?
Hey, I think that's a great ending to this video.
Well, you know what? I just sat there and I thought to myself, I said, boy, I'm not going to get any help from this guy. Oh,
Sure, he
I should be
weren't
talking
going
to her mother, not him.
So this, for the rest of my life, I'm going to fight for women's rights.
Well, go ahead, I don't care.